left of Thomas Henderson. Hello, everybody. My name is Thomas Henderson. I'm an alcoholic. I'm glad to be back in Dallas tonight. I'll start off by saying that I have moved back to Texas. I rented me a U-Haul truck, and I drove first to Tucson. And I'm a real alcoholic, you know, because I drove to Tucson and did my little work and got up at 7 o'clock in the morning. Me and a U-Haul and my pickup truck. I got a 65 classic pickup truck, which has sober 65 on the license plate. I had it up on a trailer. And I drove from 7 in the morning to midnight. Only an alcoholic would do that. But people were going down the highway, you know, they'd see my little thing on the back of my truck that says higher powered, and it has sober 65 license plates. Matter of fact, I was in Riverside, California, and these two guys, you know, had on these cool glasses, and they pulled up beside me, and so they didn't have anything of AA in their car. So they're looking around the car trying to let me know that they know what my license plates mean. So the guy finally reached in his pocket and pulled out his wallet and pulled out a little list. He says, phone numbers. And I said, yeah, buddy. Well, I'm glad to be in Dallas. This is, you know, I did Dallas. Debbie did Dallas. I did Dallas. You know, I love Dallas. And a lot of the great things that happened to me in my life happened right here in this town. So it's a great pleasure for me to be back tonight and to be back clean and sober. Because, you know, until the night, some of you didn't know whether I was clean and sober or not, you know. I was thinking when I was sitting there when they said anybody want a desire chip who wants to stay sober for 24 hours, wonder has the guest speaker ever got up and got one. There have been stories to that effect. Sobriety is number one in my life. If I'm not sober, I don't have nothing. And that's the way I run my life. Sobriety's first. I've seen people have things that are bigger and more important than sobriety in their life, their relationship, their job, their money, their legal problems. And they put all these things above sobriety. And they all of them got drunk. I was supposed to have a friend with me tonight. He's from Austin. I've known him for 30 years and got him some teeth made. You know, he's snag-a-tooth wino. And you know what? He's hurt his feelings for me to call him a wino. I've been a friend of his for 30 years, and I call him a wino. He goes, I ain't no wino. I said, well, you know, CB, you sleep in your car. And see, the reason CB don't want to be called a wino is because he and I grew up with winos. And he don't know that he's a wino. But I love him. And I look at him, I don't feel very proud that he's drunk, but I feel real proud that I'm sober. But for the grace of God, there go I. So when I came into Alcoholics Anonymous in November of 1983, I didn't think I was going to make it. And you know what? People are still paying off bets. I think I just saw one paid off over there. I was talking to a man when I first walked into the meeting. See, the thing that happened to Thomas Henderson, there's a guy here tonight who I tried to sponsor for a while. But see, I'm one of them tough sponsors. I don't believe you can pass on nothing. You can only pass on what you got, what you did, what you've experienced is my estimation of how this program works. And so when I try to pass on to a newcomer what I got and how I got it, they be looking at me going, what? The guy goes, okay, and I've had a couple of guys sign up for my deal. You know, I want you to be my sponsor. Yeah, that's one of them kind of, you know, deals. They want a celebrity to be their sponsor. They don't know I'm an asshole. I really put sobriety above everything, and they want to kick it and, you know, want me to sign a book, and they want to bullshit. And I'm saying, here's what you got to do, my man. to stay sober. So I had guys come to my house. Yeah, come on over. And they will say, well, what do you want me to do? I said, well, look, here's what I want you to do first. Are you working? No, I'm not working. Well, here's what I need for you to do. I need for you to go to 3 meetings a day until you find a job. Well, so I don't hear from them guys anymore. They leave my house going, yeah, okay. They're shaking their head, yeah, okay, yeah. And I don't hear from them ever again. Because that's what Thomas Henderson did. I went to 3 meetings a day for 8 months. Because I was scared. Because I wanted to die. Because I was confused and I didn't know how to live. And so they kept telling me, keep coming back, just show up, and it'll change your life. And I got to tell you that 6 years and a few months later, that Thomas Henderson has everything he needs. You know, my want list is still kind of long. You know, I want Trump's airplane. And I want his ex-wife now. I mean, me and Ivana could have some fun. I've been an alcoholic a long, long time. I was an alcoholic before I ever knew what an alcoholic was. I think a lot of people die alcoholics and never knew they were alcoholics. So I was raised in a dysfunctional home, my mother and father. I'm an adult child of alcoholics. My mother and my father, God bless them, my real father, my stepfather, everybody I've ever known drank too much. And growing up, my perception of alcohol, growing up as a child in Austin, Texas, was that it was just a part of growing up. It was as if alcohol has been ordained upon us. That it's an 18-year-old or a 21-year-old thing to do. That it's just part of growing up. It's just part of life. You know? But nobody ever stops and tells us that alcohol can kill you. That alcohol can take everything that means anything to you away from you. And we're supposed to be a real intelligent country here. You know, we're supposed to be it. Now, well, Japan has taken over, but we're supposed to be the brains. And by the time alcoholism becomes a real epidemic in America, you know, the alcohol companies say, okay, we better get responsible now because America's waking up to alcoholism. So what do? They all these American great minds, they get a dog up front of the TV with a black eye. And this dog says he knows when to say when. Now, how does dog know when to say when? See, I know that dog don't know where to shit, let alone where to drink. So I be looking at TV because I'm a realist. I be cutting through the bullshit in the maze. I go, it's a fucking dog. So finally, the way the education of alcohol has had to be gotten into every household is that it has to come through pain and experience, one family at a time, one day at a time, one divorce at a time, that we find out how destructive alcohol is. It ain't about knowing when to say when. That's not what it's about. It's about not saying when at all. They don't even give us that choice. They said, don't drink and drive. Nobody said, don't drink. So I grew up thinking that I had to drink without, if I was going to be an adult, that I was going to have to drink. And when I say I come from a dysfunctional home, some people go, well, I don't know. Well, I tell you what, I was 12 years old one night, and Mom and Daddy were fighting, and they got out of hand. It's always got out of hand with those two. And I walked out on the porch, and Mama had the shotgun this night, and Daddy kind of blooded her face, and she told him not to take another step. And of course, the alcoholic that he was, he raised that leg up, and she shot him. Well, and clearly, that's a dysfunctional home. I mean, 12-year-old goes to school next day, hey, Thomas, how you doing? Well, your mom shot Dad last night. See, you never knew that. See, you people here, y'all saw Thomas Henderson of the Dallas Cowboys and said he had it all. He's got it all. You know, he's tall, tan, talented, neat in the waist, beautiful face. And he dates white women, so they... Cowboys in this town are gray, ain't they? They ain't won a game since I left here, have they? Put a hex on them, you know. I was part of the difference in that team. So, you know, I didn't have a shot at it. You know, so I didn't like alcohol because I saw what it did to my mother and father for many years. So, you know, I didn't become a real full-blown drinking alcoholic until I was 29 years old. You know, I used everything else along the way, but you know, I just really didn't hook into alcohol because I saw what it did to my mother, my father, and the winos and the different people around me. So, you know, for many years, I just drank beer, you know, and I was kind of a beer drinker that if it got, you know, after a couple of sips, it lost its coldness. I was done with it. I kind of, give me another one. So I really, you know, I was kind of normal there for a while, except you can't call it normal, you know, with a, you know, drinking half a can of beer and having a, you know, gram of cocaine up your nose. That ain't normal. But I got out of that house in Austin at 15 years old. And so 3 years before that, Mama shot Dad. And it was just crazy. That's the way that I was raised, in that kind of household. Every weekend, there was fighting going on. And I don't know about you growing up. I intuitively knew that these two units, this Mom and Dad I had, that I had got a defective set. I don't know about you. But I just knew when they were passing them out that I didn't get the right set. Because I was all my life wanting those people over there to be my mom and dad. So I grew up kind of in that real alcoholic mode. Nothing was good enough. I didn't have the right kind of parents and the right kind of house. And I wanted your bike and your yard. And I didn't want nothing I had. So I intuitively knew long time ago, before I knew anything, that what I had, I didn't like what I had. And, you know, I like what I got today. I like what I got. So I left that house. And the point I'm going to make is that I left that house at 15. 6 years later, I'm in the Super Bowl with the Dallas Cowboys. But nothing has changed inside. Grew up kind of shame-based in an alcoholic home. I'm in Super Bowl 10 with the Dallas Cowboys. And, you know, I tell you, anybody here, I don't know about shame, but, you know, I've had the shame attacks in the damnedest places. You know, I just go into a shame coma sometimes. And it was at the Super Bowl, and they were like making all the announcements over the thing. And I grew up in a real kind of nasty house and not real, you know, clean and stuff. And I just knew they was going to come over the loudspeaker there at the Super Bowl and go, number 56, yeah, we knew you used to smell like urine when you lived in Austin. And here I am, this kid who had come out of a dysfunctional home. I didn't know how to live. You know, and when I met Tom Landry, the things I hated most about him is all the things that I wanted and didn't have. You see, that's what was wrong with me and Tom Landry, that he had family, that he had love, he had God, he had respect. And see, I hated all those things in him because I didn't have any of that. I looked at him and thought he was a fake, phony fraud. See, because he had these things. Why the hell don't I have these things? Why don't I have what he has? That was my conflict. I didn't know how to live, and he did. And I thought that him and people like Roger Staubach and Bob Bruning, I thought that was fake, phony. Hey, guys, y'all missing the point. Let's snort some coke. Let's get high. Let's run women. What do you mean go home? What do you mean be married and have a relationship? Fidelity. I thought that was a speaker system. I didn't know how to live. I didn't know how to love. I didn't have God in my life, so where was I headed? I was headed for destruction. I was headed for death, insanity, or prison. And you know what? I did 2 out of 3. Ain't bad. Because Thomas Henderson didn't know how to live. It wasn't until I ended up with a bunch of drunk alcoholics and recovering alcoholics that I learned how to live. It wasn't until I ran into the 12 steps of this program that I learned how to live. I went to 2 more Super Bowls. One of my rollicking times in Dallas were sad because they were all kind of chemical. I didn't know I even had blackouts until, driving. I'd be driving around Dallas now, and I'll be starting to remember stuff that I didn't remember. And, I'm not going to share it with you, but, it's only my sponsor. But for the next few years here in this town, with Tom Landry and the Dallas Cowboys, I didn't know how to live. So you stick a guy in a place where he don't know how to live, he's gonna screw up. And that's all I did was screw up. I had fun too now. I mean, living in Dallas was wonderful for me. I mean, I had a wonderful career, wonderful friends with the Dallas Cowboys. Too Tall. I mean, Too Tall and I lived together. We don't speak now, but we lived together then. And Too Tall and I travel on the road together. Too Tall snores, And we were playing the Redskins one night up in Washington, and Ed had made a tuna salad before we left Dallas. He always did that, and of course that night it'd be malodorous. He'd be farting and stuff. So we get up to play the Redskins up there. This is about 1978, and Ed is snoring and farting. So it's about 3:00 in the morning. And I'm saying, Ed, I gotta play tomorrow. I got a big tight end. I gotta sleep. Come on, man. He turns over, he snores against the wall, it ricochets back over at me. And he snores until the pillow is just muffled sound. And he snores at me, and I just can't take it. And he finally gets over on his back. So I finally say, I only know one thing to do to get his attention. So I get up out of my bed, walk around his side of the bed, wet my lips, pick his head up off the pillow, and I kiss him right on his lips. I went back over in my bed and went to sleep. Because I didn't have to worry about him snoring anymore because he watched me the rest of the night. 1979, Tom Landry fired me. And he should have fired me in 78, but he waited till 79 to do it. And, he did the right thing because I was a disruptive influence. I was heavy into everything. Alcohol, cocaine, marijuana, pills, just nuts. I don't remember being sober. I don't ever remember being sober between 77 and 83. I just don't remember being sober. I don't ever remember being sober at all. I woke up with it, I went to bed with it. I went to bed with Quaaludes and woke up with Speed. I just thought that's the way you're supposed to do it. And I kept looking at Tom Landry going, you fake, phony fraud, you're missing the point. I look at Bob Bruning and Roger Staubach, hey man, come on out here with me. And they said, no, Thomas, we don't want to do that, man. I go, God, these guys are missing the whole point. You know what? And I was missing the whole point. I didn't know. See, I walked through life just trying to figure it out as I walked along. Now, okay, do this. Oh, do that. Oh, okay. And it's whatever I like to do. I just did it and went on and did it. So when you're big like me, you kind of do, people just kind of part and get out of your way. They don't care what size you are. People just kind of get out of your way. Particularly when you're walking through life kind of by yourself. Because, see, I have friends today because I am a friend. I'm a friendly man today. But back then, I was this big old arrogant asshole. I got an amen over here. From a white woman. That's really good. I'm going to start talking jive in a minute. It'll get you a translator over here. I got traded out. I got fired, Hell, I didn't cry. I didn't feel no pain. I got loaded. That's the thing to do. That's what any alcoholic does. You get fired, you go get out. And then they traded me. They didn't tell nobody I was a dope addict, so they traded me to the 49ers. And I go out there and put on my helmet and shoulder pads after basing for about 5 days and went to work, started stretching on the field, and went to sleep with my helmet and shoulder pads on. And they decided to let me go. And so then I got traded down to Houston. I was with Bill Walsh and the 49ers. Then I got traded down to Houston with the Oilers and Bum Phillips. And I showed up down there, and they gave me a truck full of money, and nobody told them he's a drug addict. See, I was the best kept secret. But my family knew, my friends knew, or those people who call themselves my friends, that I was out of control, that I was crazy. Because, it never occurred to me to stop getting high. See, everything else occurred to me, to slow down, but don't do that, put a little cut on it, don't base it. It never occurred to me to stop. And, I know that newcomers have that same dilemma. But I got a little story about that. There's a difference between stopping and slowing down. You hear people talking about going on the wagon and they cutting back and slowing up, and somebody will come out of one of these treatment centers and you be sitting at the bar. Yeah, I went through. I go to A&A. I'm in that. I've been to a drug rehab. Drinking a little. They drinking a little bit. And they I had a coke problem. But my problem ain't with beer or wine. And the thing about it is that the only way you stay sober is you stop drinking. And you stop using. Because if you slow down, well, let me tell you a story. This old boy was driving his car in this little small town, and he come up to this stop sign. He kind of slowed down, he rolled it, he kind of went on through. And his police put his light on him and pulled him over. And he pulled up and said, "Give me a license, sir." And the guy goes, "Well, what do you want my license for?" So he said, "Well, you ran that stop sign back." He said, "Sir," he said, "I slowed down." So he said, "Well, sir, it's a stop sign. And when you're talking about stop, you need to stop drinking, not slow down." So the cop says, so the guy in the car says to the cop, he says, kind of looked at him with a cross eye, said, "Yeah, stop, slow down. What's the difference?" And the cop looked at him and said, "Oh, you don't know the difference between stopping and slowing down?" And he kind of rolled his eyes. Then the cop pulled his billy club out, started beating him across the head. He said, "Now, boom, boom. Now, you want me to stop or you want me to slow down?" So now he know what stop, you know what I'm saying? It's clear to him now. I went from the Houston Oilers back to Dallas, and they told me that they were not going to renew my contract. See, and I was a world-class athlete. And when somebody tells you they're not going to renew your contract, something's wrong, and it ain't your ability. But nobody said anything to me. So I came back to Dallas, and I went on to get high 24. Every waking minute, every waking hour, I was loaded. And I was hurting. And I wake up and I cry. Because finally it had come to the point where I hadn't lost a job because I was hurting. I wanted to stop. But I only slowed down. I wanted to quit. But I only changed from one to the other for a little while. And then one day, I'm sitting there watching the Super Bowl in 81. January 81. And I'm watching the Super Bowl, and I just started crying uncontrollably because for the first time in my life, I felt powerless. I felt hopeless. I felt just totally consumed and controlled by chemicals and alcohol and drugs, just all this stuff, because I took Quaaludes to go to bed and speed to wake up and everything I could find in between. And then I started to drink a little Tanqueray and tonic, which tastes like Kool-Aid, until you got about a quart of it in you. It didn't taste like Kool-Aid anymore. So I'm hurting. I called the commissioner of football, Pete Rozelle. I said, "Sir, I can't live like this anymore. I'm hurting. I can't take it anymore." So they sent me to treatment out in Arizona. And I show up at treatment sick, freebasing in a taxi on the way to the hospital. Old man driving the cab, looking in the mirror at me, says, "What, sir, what are you doing back there?" And I go, "I got asthma." So I go into that treatment center. I walk in. I'm one of them, high bottom drunks at the time. I got money. I got Super Bowl rings. I got real estate. I got Mercedes Benzes, and you know what I mean. I'm hurting, but I'm still looking pretty good. And I walk into this treatment center. I'm hurting. I'm devastated. I'm in pain. I'm suffering. And let me tell you something about an alcoholic, especially this one. I got myself a shower, took a crap. Got 2 nights sleep, and I thought I was fixed. I just knew I just needed a little rest. That's all it was. And I still it wasn't clear in my head that alcohol had anything to do with my problems. I knew the cocaine had really had some things to do with my problems. And also that marijuana, see, I said, no, marijuana hadn't made my life unmanageable. See, let's see. Only thing marijuana does to me is like make me eat a family-sized bag of Oreos. Hell, I ain't no problem. Hell, I can handle that. So all of a sudden in this treatment program, I had a hidden agenda. It was, and the people who come into these rooms come in here with hidden agendas. They don't understand that I just want to get over the coke. I just want to get over the marijuana. I just want to get over the gin. So we'll prioritize it. We'll say, if I just stop drinking Jack Daniels, Jack will quit visiting me in the middle of the night. So I had prioritized mine and said, if I can just get off this, I'll be okay. So I went through treatment. My treatment was nonsense after that because nobody snapped me out of that hidden agenda. So I went through 60-some odd days of treatment, sitting there as they were showing these films and stuff, and they'd have one about marijuana. I go, yeah. They'd have one on there about drinking and driving. I go, yeah. They'd have one on there about the brain on alcohol, and I go, yeah. Well, then they'd have a little film on cocaine. I said, oh, okay, then this is my part here. Otherwise, I just blocked everything else out. So the real poignant point about this whole thing I'm telling you is that after 60-something days in treatment, I get out of treatment. A friend of mine comes over in my Mercedes and picks me up, and we headed back to Dallas, across the highway there, and I reached in the glove compartment and rolled me a big fat joint of marijuana, and I say to my friend as we cruise on the highway, yeah, I think this program's going to work real well for me. See, nobody but an alcoholic would do something like that. So I'm qualified to be up here tonight. And of course, you know that if I got sober in November of '83, that 81 experience didn't work. So I had to go back out there and work on my story and do some more research. And I found all the pain, the degradation, and the shame that you can ever possibly imagine. See, it got worse than I could imagine. But then the pain became something that I could tolerate. So I set up house on the bottom. Put me a little TV there and a couch and a TV, and I lived on the bottom for 2 years. So I lived in misery and didn't know there was any other way to do it. I thought if I left Dallas, maybe I'd do better. I moved to California went looking for a movie role and ended up on parole. You see, because on page 69 in the big book, it says we all have sex problems. And I went to California and ended up in a crack house and got charged with sexual charges out in California. So I've been accused of things I didn't do, and I've done things I've never been accused of, so it all kind of works out in the wash. Well, see, what you think I didn't do, and what I did, you don't know about. So I hit my bottom. I hit my emotional bottom. You see, I was homeless when they wasn't talking about the homeless. Yeah, Jimmy know what I'm talking about. So I got arrested out there, and so I can live with the truth, but I couldn't live with the lie. And I wanted to die after all this stuff made the newspapers about me. And I said, well, look, I didn't want to... Hey, y'all, excuse me, I didn't do that. That wasn't me. No, that's a different story. So, you wonder, all these years, it's been 6 years since that happened in my life. And you wonder, even if you try to clear up a portion of it, you go, well, what window did I go to get my reputation back? And they tell you, ain't one. I hit my bottom. And I got to tell you, it was the most painful thing. It's the reality of a bottom. So you can hit a bottom and don't know you're there. But when you hit one and you know you're there, and you own it, it's a cold, hard, dark place. It's as cold as I've ever seen it. Because I hit the bottom going pretty fast. But I hit it when I was supposed to hit it, and I felt it when I was supposed to feel it. And I tell you what, you either go one or two ways when you hit the bottom the way I hit it. You either get sober or you go it on and die. And I'm grateful to God that I'm sober. Because that's all I got. See, Thomas Henderson, I got that. See, that's mine. It ain't yours, it's mine. So they took me in a treatment program. I was broke, homeless, no insurance, nothing. They took me in. See, that was a God thing. This whole thing, man, is about God. It is. I know it is. Because I can stay sober, anybody can. So I don't run around the country running my mouth about being a role model. I'm a hope model. Thomas Henderson stay sober, anybody can. But you got to have a desire to be sober. You got to have a desire to change your life. You got to have a real desire to work these steps. Because first time I worked them about 8 or 9 minutes. It was the easiest thing I'd ever done. But I went into treatment, and all the treatment was getting me ready and sober up and detox for AA. That's all it was. But again, I stayed in treatment double time. I stayed in treatment 100 and some days. I got out of treatment in Laguna, California, Newport Beach, California, all there in Orange County. And I just, I don't know. I went to 3 meetings a day for 8 months. That's how I got sober. I didn't have a job, so my job was to get sober. I didn't have a job, so my job was to go to meetings. And I went because I was scared. I went because I didn't want to live like that anymore. I went because I didn't want to hit a bottom like that ever again. I didn't want to feel that pain anymore. I'd had it. Somewhere in there, I clearly understood the consequences of drinking again. Just like I can clearly understand that if I go back to my motel room and jump off the 5th floor, I'm going to break both my damn legs. I know that. But of course, me, being the athlete I am, maybe one. Maybe I'll break this one. But there will be a consequence. And I know if I drink that I'm going to die. And if you don't know that and you don't believe that, you're going to drink again. Me and Jimmy Daniels was a good friend of mine. And we always say that if you got somewhere else to go, you'll probably go there. So I didn't have nowhere else to go. I was done. That's how I got sober, people. Ain't no ifs, ands, and buts about it. Over 500 meetings in an 8-month period. Then I went to jail. So, those of you who didn't know where I was or what I was doing, I was going to meetings. Broke, but happy. Broke, but struggling. Broke, but living. Tell you how broke I was during that 8 months. I had a $200 car I was making payments on. That's broke. But I've known a new freedom and a new happiness. State of California, I committed a bribery in the middle of my sobriety, early sobriety. I didn't say I was perfect. I thought I could buy my way out of that deal. I went and borrowed some money and tried to bribe out of that case, and And they came and arrested me again. And I said, well, hell. One more time, Thomas, you trying to fix it. You jumping out there trying to fix it and control it. And I just tell y'all that God put his hand on me. And I went where he sent me. It's like the alcoholic who says, well, I'm going to turn my life over to my higher power. But he's got all this shit going on. And then, so his higher power turned it over to the sheriff's department. The sheriff's department turned it over to the police, and they sent my ass to jail. So the state of California and the district attorney's office and the police department, they was a little mad at me about that bribery. So I went and pleaded no low contendory to those charges. And, the state of California, they think they punished me. I got to tell you tonight that Thomas Henderson got rescued. I did. I got rescued. And I went into the prison system in California and did 2 years and 4 months of soft time. Because, I know it was soft time. It was good time. Because, see, I learned how to live. I wrote every step in that big book several times. I worked every step in that book several times. I got real close to the program of Alcoholics Anonymous like you can't hardly do out here struggling and trying to pay rent. And you know what I realized when I got out of jail? I realized that heck nothing changed out here but the date. The people were still struggling. People were still trying to do it one day at a time. And, of course, going to jail, it's more dope in there per capita than is on the street. So it ain't like I couldn't have got high. And everybody wanted to get high with Hollywood. And I'd be saying, well, then they thought I was some freak. I'd be going, brother, let me talk to you. Come here. Do you know Bill W.? Glory, do you know Bill? There goes something wrong with that boy, man. Them 12 steps have got him crazy. But see, Thomas Henderson got on fire for the 12 steps of Alcoholics Anonymous. I got on fire for the unconditional love. I got on fire for the acceptance. Didn't matter who you were, where you're from. When you walk in these rooms, you accept it. I worked the steps to the best of my ability. I got married while I was in jail. Married an alcoholic. Of course, that's one of the problems in these programs, because if you get married or you get in one of these relationships, you end up kind of working 24 steps instead of 12. Or 26. I don't know how So I don't know. I just got a divorce. We were good friends, and we got divorced in a 7-month period. So, it was kind of a real... Diane's a good woman, and I just realized one day I didn't want to be married to her anymore, and I kind of respected my feelings. But she's sober, over 6 years too, and so I got a divorce January 2nd, and I'm moving back to Texas, as I kind of started off in the beginning up there. But let me go back and just tell you a little bit about getting out and coming back to the real world. October 15th, 1986, they released me from the State Department of Correction in California. On October 22nd, I spoke at Virginia Tech University. On the 27th, I spoke in Hawaii. And, I've been speaking ever since. Because when I got out of jail, some guy said, what are you going to do now, Hollywood? I said, well, my name is Thomas, but for commercial reasons, I'll keep that. I'll take that. What you going to do? I said, well, I think I'm going to be a speaker. He said, well, man, nobody want to hear your shit, man. I said, well, but there is some people who want to hear it, because there's some people who know where I've been and where I'm going if I do the right thing. So I'm the kind of guy who has worked all his life but never had a job. Been real grateful that I have done things I like to do. So I like doing what I'm doing right now. I'm sharing with you who I am. So that's the best thing a man or woman can do, is tell you who they are. Intimacy, letting you see me be me. Feelings. My feelings are valid. Growing up in the house I grew up in, my feelings weren't valid. Today I'm valid. My feelings are valid. Shame. I don't live in shame anymore. I'm proud of who I am. It took the 12 steps of Alcoholics Anonymous and you people to show me how to live. See, Thomas Henderson knows how to live. And whenever something comes up and it's in question about how to do it, see, I know what the right thing to do is today because it feels good when I do it. I came in here crawling, crying, looking for sympathy, empathy, and for you to loan me some money. You know, what I got was some unconditional love, and I saw what I wanted in a lot of different people. See, I think I'm a little bit of everybody I've ever met. For the newcomer, step 1 has been the step that has maintained my sobriety. See, you can kind of, I think that's the only step that has alcohol in it. You can replace that with sex, marijuana, cocaine, whatever you want to, but it's the only step that has alcohol in it. Because it's the only step that says, if you don't work this one, you got to stop drinking before you can try to get any lifestyle going or life or learn how to live. The other 11 steps are about living. So, on step 1, it's the only step in my estimation that for me, that I have to do 100%, 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, or I can't be sober. I got to work step 1. I can't do it 99.8 or 99.99999. Step 1, I got to work 100%. And that's why I've been sober since November the 8th, 1983. And for that, I am truly grateful. That has been the step for my sobriety. I was taking a guy through the second step recently in Hawaii. Well, step 1 and 2. And it was real spiritual for me because it was kind of hard for me to get this guy to admit he was crazy. I know he's crazy, but it's hard for him to admit he's crazy. And we did it on the beach in Hawaii, and then we went into step 3. God, so I'm here because of mercy, not justice. See, it didn't take me long to find God when I got here. See, I found God as soon as I walked in the door. And I don't know who believes what, but if you believe anything, you got a belief system, so you're capable of believing in a higher power. Step 4 and 5, I almost scared a woman to death with that one. I did it with a clergy, and she was a female. And, I got honest. And I, and kind of sadistically, because I saw it was a woman that I was going to be doing it with. So I did step 5 with a female, and I asked people who had been in before me. This is a drug rehab center in California. I asked people who had been in before me. I said, now, what did she do after you did step 5 with her? Because we had a real good, I did a good 4. And when I did 5, it was with this clergy. And I asked people, I said, so how was it? They go, well, you'll do your thing, and then she'll say, is there anything else? Well, so I did mine. I did my 4th, and then I did my 5th with her, and I looked over at her, and I was waiting for her, is there anything else? And she says, you may leave now. But it was about me getting honest. Getting to those shortcomings and character defects in 6 and 7 were hard for a guy who was an egomaniac. Still practicing step 8 and 9, 10 on a daily basis. 11 and 12. I mean, and I believe if you work 12 of them, your life will change. If you work 7 of them, 5 of them, 4 of them, 3 of them. See, won't nothing change in your life but the date. See, change ain't about lip service. Change is about action. I remember one time, Jimmy Daniels, he sponsors me and helps me through some tough times. He's a good guy I can talk to. And I was talking to Jimmy one time, and profound things happen between two alcoholics when you're honest. When you're talking about your gut level feelings. And I was telling him about some problems with my wife. And I had kind of just been doing nothing for about 7, 8 months. And Jimmy says to me, nothing is action. He said, yeah, doing nothing is a form of action. You didn't do nothing. And I go, shit. So I was doing good. Then I got, egotistical. Oh, so I did it right. I was doing good, huh? Boy, what a spiritual giant I am. That's why it's good to have friends in the program, so somebody can keep us honest. Somebody can keep us simple. We can look to people for love, support, friendship. That's what Alcoholics Anonymous is all about. See, I wasn't capable of having what I have today. See, because I lost everything I owned in a big fire. Well, I call it the big fire. My life was a big fire. And from the big fire came out me, what I have left here. And now I'm the best Thomas Henderson I've ever could have imagined. I love what I do. I love me. I got credit. I got credibility. I just went to Austin and put a bid in on this house. And they, scared the hell out of me and accepted it. And I know I got good credit now because I've been working on it, the amazing thing about me is that through all the crap I went through, I came out of it with credit. And you figure that out. Because I was a real arrogant asshole. I mean, if somebody would send me a late notice, I'd try to buy the company. So I know they're going to approve me on this loan, so now I'm scared, And I think it's natural. I'm scared, that I'm going to be a homeowner in Texas. I left California because, the things I could buy out there it wasn't worth my money. So I'm coming back home, y'all. I'm glad to be back in Texas. I've been away for a long time. I've been away from Austin for 20 years. Been away from Dallas for 8 years. So I'll be 200 miles away. And then if I can ever do anything for Alcoholics Anonymous or this Addison group or anytime AA calls, I'm going to be available. Thank y'all for listening to me. I love every one of y'all.